This conference will now be recorded.
Yes, Divakar, can you please just brief yourself? Can you hear me, Divakar? Am I audible to you?
Yeah.
Yes, Divakar.
Myself Divakar. Yeah, presently
Yes.
I'm working as assistant professor in engineering college. My educational background is BTech and MTech in mechanical engineering. So right
Okay.
now I'm going to change the location for working location. So that's why I choose SAP MM.
Okay. So how many years of teaching experience you have?
Yeah, I have total years of experience, 6 years experience in teaching.
Okay. Fine. That's good. Good enough. So yes, Divakar. And Irfan, can you just give a brief introduction of yours as well? Irfan. Yeah, Irfan.
Myself, Irfan, was working as in a health department for 2 years.
Okay.
My background is a BTech MBA.
Okay.
So I want to learn about SAP MM. My friend referred this course.
Mm-hmm. Okay. That's good. So how many experience you said? How many years of experience you have?
Yeah, I have 2 years of experience in health department.
So in the IT department, are you using SAP over there?
Yeah, no.
Okay, no problem. Fine. Yeah, Irfan, thank you so much. Lalit, can you hear me? Can you just brief about yourself, Lalit? Hello, Lalit. I think we'll come back on Lalit. Sachin, can you hear me? Just unmute yourself, Sachin, and yeah, Sachin.
Can you hear me? Good evening. My name is Sachin. I'm a BTech graduate, and I'm a fresher actually. I'm studying SAP MM. That's why I came.
Okay. So what you're studying?
Yeah, SAP MM.
No, you're a fresher into what's your qualification?
Okay, okay. I'm BTech graduate in mechanical engineering.
Okay. Fine. Thank you. Yes. Thank you so much. Yeah, Irfan. And next is Lalit. Can you hear me? Am I audible to you? Lalit? Somnath?
Good
Yeah,
evening,
Somnath.
everyone.
Good
Yeah,
evening.
myself Somnath, and I'm working in one of the automobile company as a German language expert since 4 years, and I have
Okay.
done my Bachelor of Engineering in Production.
Okay. So you're planning to move to SAP? Any specific reason for that?
Actually, I have I'm expert in the German language, and while
Okay.
teaching, I used to teach German language before that, and in
Right.
that I just come across to one of the SAP managers from the Cognizant, and he told me that it is a good combination to have a German language and the SAP, but as a need of time, I joined this automobile company, but now automobile sector is bit in not in good condition actually, so I just thought to the SAP and wanted to explore this area.
Okay, that's good. So you have one added advantage of German language, because if you are going to that Germany, German is compulsory. So plus upon that, if you have SAP skills, it's a great combination. Yeah, right. Fine. Thank you, Somnath. And Syed, can you hear me? Hello, Syed. Syed, am I audible to you? I think we'll come back on that. Then Vinay Gandhi, Vinay Gandhi.
Yeah, hi everyone. Currently, I'm working on SAP PM module from past 2 years. Right now, I was looking for SAP MM module. Yeah, that's it.
Okay, so PM module, how many years of experience you have?
2 years of experience I'm having in PM module.
Okay, okay, that's good. Mhm. And fine, fine. Thank you so much, Vinay. And Lalit, am I audible to you, Lalit? Lalit, I think has a mic problem. Sayed, hello, Sayed. Okay, I think issue with the mic or something. So no problem. We'll start with the demo. I will share my screen and then I'll take it forward. Okay, so before I start, let me introduce myself as well. Are you able to see my screen, everyone?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. So, well, myself, Manoj Gupta. I'm a SAP MM solution architect with 14 years of SAP experience. Okay, and out of 14 years, out of that, I have 2 years of S4 HANA experience and 12 years of SAP MM ECC experience. Okay, in my 14 years of SAP experience, I have done multiple projects, where 7 full lifecycle end-to-end implementation projects and 11 rollout projects, which you can see it's a mini project. And then I have done 2 upgradation projects as well as GST migration projects with lot of enhancements and customizations. Okay, so I've also handled my project management part as well, with wherein handling the all the team members and project within the scope, budget and timeline. And also apart from that, I've handled multiple support projects using my consulting knowledge and the business expertise. Okay, so this is about me. Currently, I'm working in a MNC as a solution architect, SAP S4 HANA MM. Okay, and coming to who is this course for? Well, this course is basically for anyone who is interested to learn SAP MM. There is no prerequisite as such to learn for SAP MM ECC version. Yeah, you have a prerequisite for your S4 HANA version. Okay, if you are going for S4 HANA version, you have a prerequisite that you should know ECC version, or you should have a sourcing and procurement background. But for ECC version, there is no prerequisite as such. Anybody who is a fresher, just college pass out, can learn SAP MM, because as you know, we have a huge scope and job opportunities available in the SAP market. Then we have experienced candidates, who these are the people who are basically not necessarily they should have a SAP experience. Any domain expertise guy, or somebody is having a teaching experience. We have few candidates over here, so teaching experience or any domain experience they have, they want to get into SAP because they want to leverage the experience which they have into the SAP. So that domain expertise, that domain experience will be counted as a domain experience. It won't be wasted. They won't be treated as a fresher in SAP. It will be treated as a domain experience, and on the top of that, SAP skills will be an added advantage to them. Okay, and then we have SAP consultants. Now we have one candidate from SAP PM module. Okay, so there are candidates who are working in some other module and they want to learn extra module to have an edge on other candidates for better opportunities. Because once you grow at solution architect level, the way solution architect needs to know multiple modules. Okay, so not necessarily you should know one module, so that you can have a better opportunities in your organization or in the SAP market. Then we have somebody as end users. So end users are the people who are already working on in the SAP, but as a end user. They are not working as a consultant. They are the users who, using the business knowledge, they do all the processes and transactions into SAP. Daily, day-to-day, end-to-end operations are handled by the end users into the SAP system. And for better opportunities, they can learn SAP MM at consulting level and get into consulting market, okay, as a consultant or at team lead, project manager level. And this, the scope is huge coming to SAP. Okay, and then so this is what anybody who is interested to learn SAP MM can learn, because here there is no prerequisite. As I said, everything will be taught from the scratch. Okay, and each and every topic will be covered, which I will be showing you the training contents, which I will be covering in the training. So each and everything will be covered in the training. So not only your theoretical part, it's almost 40% theory and 60% practicals. This is the kind of combination, in fact more practical would be more, and you'll be getting a 24/7 server access to practice. Okay, so after every topic which I cover, we'll be giving you assignments to work on. Okay, and you have to go back, practice on that assignment, come back to me on any issues or clarification doubts you have, so that you get a better clarity. And at the end of the training, we have a project as well. Okay, so which will give you a real-time end-to-end full life cycle project scenario. Okay, which will give you full complete picture of SAP, how exactly it is implemented in a real life business organization. Okay, so we are not just covering the business scenarios, we would be covering the transactions and the configuration as well. So if you talk about SAP, is all about the scenarios and processes. Okay, and to do that processes, we have SAP transactions. There are various transactions for each processes, and behind every transaction we have a configuration. It is called settings. So we have to do the settings for each and every transaction, whether it's a master data or it's a transaction data. Every process or transaction has a configuration involved in it. Okay, so we have standard configuration, and then we have specific business requirement coming up, so we can customize the configuration as per the business requirement as well. So let us start now. Why SAP? Okay, so as I told you, and people who are into SAP coming for training, they know that SAP professionals are highly sought after, okay, in the IT market. Okay, whether it's a MNC company or local company. And if you see, 76% of the world transaction revenue touches on SAP system. So whichever business organization you take, out of total world's transactions, 76% is done in SAP system. It's a #1 ERP system in the world. Okay, and SAP has an enormous consumer base of 3,45,000 spread across 190 countries. So these are the companies who have implemented SAP. Okay, there are 3,45,000 companies as on 2019 who have implemented SAP. And so we have huge scope. It is not local. We have global opportunities available for consulting, SAP consultants. Okay, SAP customers include 87% of the Forbes Global 2000 companies, 98% of the world's most value brands, 100% of the Dow Jones top scoring sustainability companies. So this is the kind of scope we have when we talk about SAP. Okay, now coming to why learn SAP MM. First of all, it is easy to learn. As I told you, there is no prerequisite as such. There is no need to have a technical knowledge background. Okay, because in SAP there are different modules available, which I will discuss how SAP is. We have various components and various modules in SAP. It's easy to learn, and it's a fundamental model of SAP. Okay, so MM is one of the fundamental modules, that is a core module of SAP. Apart from that, we have SD module, finance module, so and PP and PM and HR. So these are the 4-5 core modules of SAP. And every company, is irrespective of the size, whether it's a small size company, big size company, or medium size company, they implement all the core modules. And when these companies implement, obviously we're going to have a plenty of jobs in the market for they want resources to handle this SAP thing. For implementing the project, they need resource. To support that project, they need the resources. So because of which we have plenty of jobs available in the market for SAP consulting. Even in the current situation, if you see in the COVID-19 situation, still we have, if you search SAP jobs compared to other field, we have openings available for SAP. Okay, yes, so talking about freshers, it might be relatively less, but for experienced guys, minimum 2 years. If you say talk about 2 years of experience, minimum 2 years experience candidate, yeah, we have a lot of opportunities available in the SAP job market. Now, talking about evolution of SAP, how SAP evolved. Okay, so it all started in the year 1972. Okay, by 5 IBM engineers. So they were working on a company called IBM. Okay, and this IBM had a software called SAPE. The name of the software was SAP. Okay, and they had acquired, IBM has acquired this SAP software from Xerox company in the year 1972. They acquired it, and this five IBM engineers were deputed to work on that. So after working on that, IBM abolished this project, and these 5 IBM engineers were told to move on to some other project. So now these people have worked on this ERP system, and they were confident about this scope of this system. Okay, so they left the IBM company and they took over this SAP product, and they evolved it, customized it, and enhanced the product, and they came up with a new company called SAP, and it was launched in the year 1972 by these five IBM engineers in Waldorf, Germany. Okay, and initially it was called SAP R1 version. It was the first generation of SAP. It was not very popular because it was just started, and so they started working on it, and in the year 1979 they came up with a new system called SAP R2. Now here it's a second generation of SAP, and R signifies is the real time. Okay, R means it's a real time system. Data is available in a real time basis. Okay, and when it was launched in the 1972 or 79, at that time the mainframe was the technology which was available, and only big companies were using the mainframe technology, and these big companies started implementing the SAP R2 version. Now coming to in the year 1992, what happened? There was a next technology shift which occurred, and mainframe was replaced by personal computers. Personal computers came into picture, and not only big companies, then medium-sized companies, small companies also started using personal computers for their daily business operations, and they wanted a software system to handle their operations. Okay, so SAP was evolved, enhanced, and a new version was launched in the year 1992, which was called SAP R3 version. It's a third generation of SAP, and it's a real-time third generation. Now this also works on a 3-tier architecture. Okay, so what is 3-tier architecture? Over here in the 3-tier architecture, we have the first layer, that is your application layer. Okay, which is your user interface. That is your first layer. Second layer is your program. The application program, wherein millions of lines of codes are written, and they perform the processing of the data which is given via the user interface. So you input the data over here, it goes to the application layer program, it will process your data, and in the third layer we have the database which will store the data which is processed by the program. Okay, so this is a 3-tier architecture, and SAP R3 used to work on the 3-tier architecture. That is why it is also called 3. It's a third generation, and it's a works on the 3-tier architecture. Now after that, in the year 2004, there was a next technology shift which occurred, and your internet started spreading its wings. Web was the common ground, common place for the business to interact, do their processes and transactions. Okay, and SAP R3 version was not able to work on internet. So what SAP did, they acquired a company called NetWeaver, and via NetWeaver they were able to perform few of the processes and transactions on the net, but not all of them. Okay, so but ECC, this ERP system, it was called SAP ERP, or it is also called as ECC version, which is ERP central component. Okay, now this it was very robust system. Now coming to when it was launched in the year 2004, it had all the processes, and it had become a #1 ERP system in the market. Now when we talk about ERP, the full form of ERP is enterprise resource planning. We have a lot of ERP systems in the market. Like we have SAP is the #1, is a leader in the ERP market. Then we have Oracle at the second level. Second number is the Oracle apps. Then we have JDA. JDE is there. PeopleSoft. Okay. Salesforce. So there are a lot of programs available, ERP systems available, but SAP occupies the market share, highest market share of ERP system. Okay, it occupies almost 30% of the ERP market share, and it is the #1 ERP system in the market. Now, why SAP was already #1 position, why SAP came up with a new version which was called S4 HANA. Okay, there was a lot of issues which SAP encountered by the year after 2004 launching. SAP has a global support team which handles the support issues across all the companies, whatever they have, 3.5 lakh to 4 lakh companies. There are support issues which gets escalated to SAP global support team, and when they analyzed the call log, they found out that almost 70% of the issues were reported because of the database. Only 30 to 40% issues were due to the SAP core business processes or the core modules, and remaining were because of the database issues. Now this ERP system, R2, R3, ERP, all these were systems were database independent. They can work on any database. Okay, they can work on the Oracle database, or we have Microsoft SQL Server database. Okay, we have Sybase, DB2. So there are a lot of databases available, and SAP was not database dependent. It can work on any database till the time of ERP system, till ECC version. Now, but this database were not our, they were of third-party companies. It does not belong to SAP, and the issues were which SAP analyzed were because of these databases. So SAP started developing their own database, and they came up with a new database which was called HANA database in the year 2011. Okay, only because of this, so that they can handle this 70%, 60 to 70% of issues which they were not able to do much about it because the database was not belongs to them. Okay, so they came up with a new database in the year 2011 which was called HANA database. Okay, and now this ECC version was coming to HANA database. It has lot of features and huge computing power available with them. Okay, HANA can process any data in a much faster manner compared to other databases. SAP has done a standard survey, and they found that suppose we have a customer table which is having 2 trillion records in it. Yeah, there are 2 trillion records in that table, and business wants to know who are my top 5 customers. Okay, so to fetch this kind of data from a normal Oracle or SQL Server database, it will take 6 hours to fetch the data. Okay, top 5 customers, whereas your HANA database can fetch you the same data in 6 seconds. Yes, you heard it right, it's just 6 seconds. So that kind of difference is there in the performance and efficiency of the database. Now, why SAP HANA is able to do this kind of has a huge computing power? Because it's a in-memory database. Okay, data resides in the RAM. Okay, so which we'll be seeing in the training in detail how exactly the data resides in the RAM, because business data is so huge, and how can it's be able to manage to store the data in the RAM. There are a lot of strategies, data aging strategies, compression technology, and a lot of features because of which the data resides in the RAM. Okay, and it's supposed massively parallel processing, a lot of processing happens parallelly. Okay, and then there are a lot of other features which we'll be learning in detail. So when business saw this, that HANA database can process the data just in 6 seconds, whereas others taking so much time, so they started migrating their database from Oracle SQL to HANA database. And when this happens, the ECC version which is working on Oracle SQL and migrates to HANA database, it is called SAP Business Suite on HANA. Okay, so 1 second. Okay, so no problem. So here, when this happens, it is called SAP Business Suite on HANA. It is nothing but your ECC version which is working on the HANA database. Now, first we will talk about the ECC version, and then we will talk about HANA. Now, coming to ECC version, Now SAP, as I told you, SAP old version is ECC, which is a ERP central component. Okay, it's a full form is ERP central component, and 6.0 was the version which was launched before HANA came into picture. And after that there was a lot of enhancements. So EHP 1 is the enhancement package 1 till EHP 2, EHP 3, EHP 4, and till EHP 8 SAP continued the ECC version. And after that SAP came up with the SAP S4 HANA. Okay, so here we have a lot of versions. It was launched in the year 2015, so it is called 1503. In the month of March it was launched. Okay, so it is called 1503, and then they came up with 1603, 17, 18, and 19. So current is your latest version is 1909, which is launched in the month of September 2019. Okay, so this is the latest version. Now SAP has lot of modules in it. Okay, when we talk about SAP ERP, it comprises of lot of modules in it. Okay, so it is not just one module. Now what is module? Basically, when we talk about any business organization, we have various departments in the business organization. We have finance department, okay, purchase department, HR department, sales and marketing department. So various departments are there, and SAP has modules for each and every department of the organization. So when we talk about finance, they have the finance module. SAP has finance module, FICO. Then we for purchase department they have MM module. For sales department they have SD module. Okay, then for if it's a manufacturing organization, they have a PP, production planning module. Okay, and then we have a quality management module, QM, PS, plan project systems, plant maintenance. Okay, so these are the logistics module. Then we have HR, HCM modules, and so on. Okay, so there are a lot of modules available, and these modules are called as functional modules. These are the SAP functional modules because they handle the business functions. Okay, apart from the functional modules, SAP also has something called as technical modules. So we have SAP technical modules, which includes your modules like ABAP, which is a programming language, SAP proprietary programming language used to do the coding and customization of various models. Okay, so we say that if in MM model, when we talk about MM model, we want to generate some new report. So how to generate that report? That can be done via ABAP. Okay, so ABAP is a programming language which we can use to customize any transaction or create a new transaction, or customize any report or create a new report. And that kind of activities can be done. Even for integration of SAP with non-SAP systems, we use the ABAP language. Then we have something called BASIS, which is a basically handling of your database. Okay, and HANA admin is there to handle the database, which is a new version of BASIS, basically you can say. And then we have a lot of analytical tools like BI, business intelligence, business warehouse modules, BO, bots, and so on. Okay, so these are the strategic reporting and high-end reporting. We use this business intelligence modules. Okay, so for normal reporting we can use the MM module has their own standard reports available, same way as DFI. So all the modules have their own standard reports. But if you want to go for strategic reporting, which requires a lot of computing power, a lot of visualizations and lot of things, then we can use this BI BW models. Okay, so now here we are going to cover the MM module, which is a part of your SAP functional. Okay, so now what is MM module? Now when we talk about MM, it caters to the B2B scenario. Okay, business to business. Okay, we have two types of scenario, business to business and business to consumer. So when as a single person I go to any market to bring any product, okay, so I am doing a business to consumer transaction. Okay, wherein I go to a mall, or I go to Amazon or Walmart or any Reliance store, anywhere I select a product and pay the products. It's simple, the process is very simple. But when we talk about business to business, the process is same, but it's in bulk. Okay, the procurement purchase is done in bulk. So when we talk about any we take an example of a coffee shop. Okay, so in the coffee shop they have lot of ingredients or materials which are required for coffee, like they want coffee beans, they want milk and other ingredients. Now what happens in SAP, we can maintain the inventory of that, and if the inventory becomes goes below a particular point, okay, so there is something called planning is done, wherein at any point of time the inventory is gone below, we can automatically create a procurement proposal and purchase that inventory, and the replenishment happens. Okay, so these kind of activities can be done in the SAP MM, which we'll be covering in detail. Okay, so coming to, yeah, so here I was talking about SAP, various models of SAP, and SAP is tightly integrated. Okay, it is we have seen so many models, and all the models are integrated with each other. Okay, when we talk about SAP MM, finance is the center component of SAP. Okay, all the data flows from the various other models into finance models. So when we do MM transactions like your purchase order creation or the GR and goods receipt, so the data will flow from the MM model into finance model. Same way in the sales model, whatever transactions we perform, data finally flows to finance model. PP model will flow finance model. So finance is the central thing. Without finance model, SAP will not work. And obviously for purchase we require MM model, for sales we require SD model, and so on. Okay, so and all the models are tightly integrated. So we'll be seeing how the integration, what are the various integration points of MM model with finance, what is the integration point of MM with SD model, and so on. Okay, MM, how it is integrated with PP, how MM is integrated with QM model, and how it is integrated with your project system. So it is tightly integrated, and that is the only reason SAP is the #1 ERP system in the ERP market. Because if you compare other ERP systems, they have first of all, they don't have all the processes, all the models. Secondly, it is not tightly integrated the way it is SAP is tightly integrated. Okay, so that kind of because of which what happens, we have the data is real time, the single point of data entry is required. Once you do any data entry one point, it is available for all the models at centrally. Okay, so there is no duplication of data, there is no redundancy of data. So this kind of integration is available when we talk about SAP. Okay, and coming to features of SAP, it is one of the core models of SAP, as I told you, and it is a backbone of SAP logistics area. In SAP we have 3-4 areas. One is a logistics area, then we have financial area, and then we have HR and other areas as well, like reporting, I told you, BRBW, analytical tools. Okay, so logistics, when you talk about logistics, SAP MM is the backbone of logistics, and we have other models as well, like SD, PP, QM, and PS. So these are other models which are periphery models of logistics area, whereas SAP MM is the backbone of it. Okay, so what is the purpose of SAP MM? It, as a process, it will ensure that there is no shortage of material. Okay, right kind of material is available at the right time. Okay, there should not be any shortage, so that if you have any customer requirement, you can fulfill the customer requirement by from the inventory. We can pick it up and dispatch to the customer. If you're a manufacturing organization, the raw materials or spare parts, whatever it is required, it should not be, there should not be shortage, so that your production should not affect. Okay, it should not stop, production should not stop. That is the main purpose of SAP MM. And we talk about SAP MM, it is the aim is to accelerate the productivity and reduce the cost. Okay, it handles the spend management of your organization. Okay, at the same time, it is quite versatile to accommodate the changes in which are occurring in any business environment. Okay, so it deals with the procurement processes, which will be covering. I'll just show you. There's something called org structure in SAP MM. Okay, it starts with the group company, which is your controlling area. When we talk about like for example, we talk about Reliance Group, so we can place the Reliance Group over here on the top, and the Reliance Group has a lot of entities within that. Okay, we have Reliance Retail, Reliance Petroleum, Reliance Jio. So these are the various companies under the group company. So below the group company will be having the legal entities or of that group company, and then below that we have the purchase organization. Now this purchase organization is basically, we can have two types of purchase organization. We can have centralized purchase organization as well as decentralized purchase organization. So what is the centralized purchase organization? It will do basically, it will do the procurement for all the group companies. So this centralized will be sitting at the group head office, and they will do the procurement for all the companies under the group company. Okay, so what happens, because of which we do purchase in bulk, and we can negotiate in a better manner with the vendor to get a huge discounts. Okay, so that kind of thing can be done when we talk about centralized purchase organization. We have something called as decentralized purchase organization, wherein what happens, if it's a big organization, they have the head office in US, they have the manufacturing unit in the China, so it doesn't make sense that you procure from sitting in the US. Okay, you have to do the local purchase. So what they will do, they have a decentralized purchase organization wherein local procurement will be handled locally, and we can do the dispatch, or what you call basically maintain the inventory or do the manufacturing activities or service of the organization. So this is a part of a decentralized organization, and below that we have plants. So in MM, the two main important org structure is plants and storage location. So what is plant? Plant is basically anything. There are three types of plants. If it's a manufacturing unit, then it can be created as a plant, or if it's a distribution center, means after manufacturing, whatever material is stored in a distribution center, whether it's a warehouse or it's an agency, trading agency. Okay, so that distribution center can also be treated as a plant. And the third type of plant is a service industry. So for the service branch office can be created as a plant, or the service head office can be created as a plant. Below the plant we have something called storage locations. So this storage location is main concept is to store the material within the plant. So manufacturing, the plant will be huge. Okay, so we need to know where exactly the material is lying in the particular plant. So that can be done via storage location. So we know how much quantity of the stock is lying and where exactly it is lying. That can be identified via this storage location. Okay, even for if we take out the example of a retail industry, the place where we go and buy the products, any store in the mall or wherever, even that can be treated as a storage location. So this is something called as org structure of SAP MM. So this is the first step we have to define. Now this definition, SAP has something called standard org structure, but when we implement the project, there are various phases in the project. Okay, when we talk about SAP implementation, we can do via some methodology. There's something called SAP methodology, and for S4HANA we have a new methodology which is called Activate methodology. Okay, so in we have various phases in that. It starts with the planning phase. Okay, then we have business blueprint phase. Then we have realization. Okay, and then we have cutover strategy, that is called final preparation, and then we have go live, and then we have support. So these are the various phases of any project. So when we talk about planning phase, okay, so in the planning phase we will just we will have lot of workshops with the business. We'll have lot of meetings and workshops conducted. We will get the requirement, we'll do the requirement elicitation, requirement gathering from the business, what how many companies they have. Okay, like this kind of how many companies they are going to have in the SAP, how many, whether the purchase organization will be centralized purchase organization or whether it will be a decentralized purchase organization, how many plans they have and what kind of plans they have, how many storage locations they intend to have, and how exactly they are linked to each other. Okay, so one plant can be assigned to only one company code, but storage location can be assigned to multiple company codes. This storage location can cater to this plant, it can cater to this, to 002 plant, 003 plant. So all these details has to be gathered. This requirement has to gather in a particular document, and that document is called business blueprint. Okay, so this it will be created after planning and getting the requirement. We'll create a business blueprint document which will have all the details of the business requirement, and then we will do the realization phase, wherein we will be doing the customization. Okay, the configuration which I told you, the settings behind each and every processes. So we will create in SAP system, we will create the company code, we'll create the purchase organization, whether centralized or decentralized, we'll create the plant, we'll create the storage location, we'll link each other. Okay, and then we will do the customization of the purchasing transaction. So this is called a realization. And then after realization is done, we have the final preparation, wherein we'll be having the cutover strategy, where what happens over here is basically we do the data migration. Now what kind of data we have to migrate it? Any company which is implementing SAP, either they might be using the old SAP system and they plan to migrate to the new SAP system, that is from R3 to ECC version or E3 to SAP S4 HANA version. Okay, so that is one way. Other way, sometimes they are using non-SAP system, whether they are using, maybe they are using Oracle Labs or JD Edwards or PeopleSoft, or they are using Tally system, or it may happen that they are just using Excel for your business operations and they now plan to implement SAP system. So data is already there in the old system, also the data is there. In the non-SAP system which they are using, also data is there. Now this data has to be migrated to SAP system. When we implement SAP, there is no data, it's completely blank system. So what we do, we migrate the data in the final preparation stage, and then once the data migration is done, we'll be doing the go live. Okay, there will be some hypercare support, and then after that we'll be having the AMC with the business. So these are the various phases which we'll be covering in the training, how to handle the various phases of the SAP implementation. Okay, and major part will be covered in the realization phase. Almost 80% of the project duration is going in the realization phase. When we talk about project duration, SAP projects goes from anywhere from 6 months to 1 year. Okay, so out of which 80% of your duration will be taken by the realization phase. Okay, so this will be covering in detail in the training, what is realization. So coming to here, apart from org structure, SAP has something called as master data as well. Okay, so in any SAP system, we have two types of data. One is your master data, and then we have the transaction data. Okay, so when we talk about master data, we have various masters in SAP system. We have material master, we have vendor master. Apart from that, we have other like info record and source list, which will be covering. Then we have transaction data in SAP. Now, what is transaction data in SAP MM? In SAP MM, when we talk about SAP MM, we have various transactions like purchase requisitions, purchase orders. Okay, then we have contracts, we have quotations, request for quotations, then we have quotations. And then we have inventory management. So these are part of your purchasing component. Okay, this belongs to purchasing. And then we have below the purchasing, another component is inventory management. This is the second component of SAP MM, wherein we have transactions like goods receipt, goods issue, transfer postings, reservation, okay, and cancellation of the document and so on. Okay, so we will be covering all these details in detail. And then finally we have invoice. Okay, so I will just log into the system and show you how exactly it works. When you there are two ways to log into SAP system. Either you will be getting the server access via remote desktop, or you have to install SAP system locally and connect via GUI interface to the server. So right now I'm connecting to the remote desktop. Here all these login credentials will be provided. It's a 24/7 server access provided to you. So this IP address and the username password will be given. So you have to just go to start, run, and type mstsc if you are using Windows operating system. If you are using iOS, then there's another app you have to download for remote desktop connection, and then give the credentials and connect. Click on connect. Okay, so this is your server which I have logged in. Here we'll be having various icons. For SAP, we have the SAP graphical user interface. When we talk about S4 HANA, we have a new interface which is called Fiori. So that I have a separate demo for S4 HANA. If people who are interested to learn SAP S4 HANA, we'll be having a separate demo for that, because S4 HANA, there are a lot of changes which have come up. there are almost 30 to 40% changes, which are additional things which have come up. So it requires a separate demo. So whoever is interested for S4HANA, we can cover separate demo for that. Right now we'll cover the SAP ECC version, which is your graphical user interface. So this is the icon which is available. So you double click on that icon. Here we'll be having various servers. Okay, so in your live scenario, we'll be having the production server. Then we have something called quality server and development server. Okay, so what is this? There are these three servers. Basically, SAP, this is the landscape of SAP. Okay, so any organization, we have three, SAP has to have three landscape. One is your development server, then we have quality server, and production server. So development server is a server where actually consultant works. They will do all the customization configuration as per the business blueprint. Okay, all this configuration will be handled over here, and they will do the testing part. And then what will, after doing the configuration, all the settings will be moved from development to quality server. Here in the quality server, the business users, the business where we are implementing SAP system, they will come with you. They will do the testing from their side, and they will make sure that whatever the requirement is there, whether it is fulfilled successfully or not, all the requirements are met or not. When all the requirement, this is called UAT. Okay, in the quality server, we perform the user acceptance test, and if the requirement is fulfilled, they will sign off the UAT. UAT is passed, and once that is done, all the configuration settings which we have, we will be moved to production system, and it is your SAP project has gone live, is declared live, and business can start using the system. Okay, so this is the three landscape. Now for consultant, we will be having the full authorization in development server. You can open any transaction, you can do any configuration settings. So we'll be working on the development server. Production, we have a limited access as per the role of the candidate. When he's a buyer, he'll be having transactions are relevant to the buying activities. His HOD will having transactions which are required for his approval of the purchase order or so on. Okay, so based on the role which the employee is performing, we have a limited access to that in production server. Okay, but in development, as a consultant, we'll be having the full access, and this is your development server which we are working right now. Okay, so here I'll be logging into the server. I have given the what you call server login credentials, and this is your SAP login credentials. This can be separate or it can be the same one, which will be shared with you once we start the training. So this is the home page of SAP. Okay, here if you see on the right hand side, we have the, here we can have a company logo, and on the left hand side we have all the, this is called SAP Easy Access, and we have the various models over here. Okay, so when we talk about logistics area, I was talking about logistics area. Here we have models like materials management, which is the backbone of logistics area. Then we have sales and distribution, production planning, plant maintenance, quality management. Okay, so we'll talk about materials management. When we expand this materials management, we have various components of materials management like purchasing component. Then we have inventory management, invoice component, physical inventory, valuation, MRP. Okay, so when we talk about purchasing, we have components like purchase requisitions, purchase order, this is contracts, outline agreement means contracts, quotations, master data, and environment. Okay, and then in inventory management, as I told you, inventory management has a yeah, so this version actually I have one question from Lalit. This version is SAP S4HANA. Okay, if the server which I'm logged into is the SAP S4HANA. If you want to know the version, you can go to system, go to status, and we can see the product version over here. Okay, so this is your SAP HANA version, SAP S4HANA 19.9. This is the latest server which we right now working on. Okay, so here coming back to this inventory management component, we have various transactions. Okay, like goods movement, material document reservation, and so on. We will be seeing in detail, and these are part of all your transaction data. Now coming to master data, as I told you, master data comprises of a material master and vendor master. Now when to start the material master, now SAP has two kinds of approach for navigation. When we talk about navigation, we can navigate, we can open any transaction via the command field, which is a shortcut method, or we can open a transaction via the easy access. Okay, so if you see, this is called as command field. We have, these are the menu bars, Okay, and this is your standard toolbar which is available. You can log up from here, you can search anything. Then we have, this is the application toolbar which is called easy access, and this is the, sorry, this is the title bar of the application, and this is the application toolbar. And then below that we have the status bar. In the status bar we have something on the right hand side, we have the information, which server you have logged on into, what is the user ID who has logged on, which program you are working on. So all these details will be available in the system information, and the left hand side is the system messages, which will be seeing basically it will throw a lot of messages when we perform a transaction, like error messages or warning messages. So that will be available over here in this left hand side of the status bar. So this command field is the shortcut to open any transaction. So when I open Material Master, if I know the transaction code, every transaction is assigned a transaction code in SAP. So for Material Master, we have a transaction code called MM01. This is a transaction code to create a transaction, create a Material Master. So when I open here, it will tell me I want to create a material for which industry sector. So if you see here, there are industry sectors available provided by standard SAP. If you don't have this industry sector, your industry is not available, you can add your own industry sector as well via customization. So we'll be seeing in detail how to customize this. Then we have some, suppose I take mechanical engineering. Then we have material type. So what type of material it is? Your material can be a raw material, your material can be a semi-finished material, it can be a finished material, it can be a service material. So we need to know what type of material we are going to create. Okay, so this is your, suppose ROH is a standard raw material. We can create our own material type as well as per the business requirement. Then press enter. Now if you see here, we have various views. In SAP we have three kinds of segments in any master data. One is a basic data, then we have model specific data, and then we have financial data. So basic data is nothing but your data which is at client level. So we have seen in the org structure, group companies there, and then we have the this company code and plant and storage location. So the group company and company code data will be residing in the basic data. Okay, it will be common for all the companies over here. When we talk about model specific data, here we have purchasing data, model we have purchasing data, and the plant and storage location data. So your plant, whatever we have created, and storage location we have created in the org structure, that will be available over here. And then we have accounting details, which is basically valuation of your material. What is the value of the material? Okay, and whether it's a what is the GL code? Okay, so basically as I told you, any data we perform, it goes into finance model. So where exactly in the finance model it should hit, what is the GL code of that finance model will be updated in this accounting detail. So apart from that, there are a lot of other views available. If you see, there are so many views here, because Material Master is a common master data for all the modules of SAP, irrespective of whether it's MM module, SD, PP, QM, finance. Everybody uses the Material Master. Okay, so if every module will have its own specific data. So when I talk about MM, we have purchasing details over here. So when I click on OK, continue, I have to give the plant for which I'm creating the material. So I create, suppose I choose AP01 plant. Okay, so we can create our own plant. Suppose I give raw material for my training purpose. SAP demo. Okay, so then we have to give the base unit of measurement. Now what are there are standard base unit of measurement available. This is basically your ISO unit of measurements which are available, like what is the, whether it's a kg, it's a gram, or box, bag, okay, carton, in days. So these are various dimensions are there in the unit of measurement, and accordingly we need to configure. So there are some standard unit of measurements provided. We can create our own unit of measurements as well based on the dimensions of the material. Suppose I take each is a single unit. Then we have material group, is nothing but grouping of your material as per the characteristics of the material. We group the material in a one particular group, so we can give that, and then we can go directly to the purchasing views, and over here we can we need to assign the purchase data. Okay, so which will have basically purchasing value key, like we want to send a reminder to the vendor in how much time. Okay, once after creating purchase order, we can send a reminder for the follow-up of the material. We want the first reminder in 10 days, second reminder 20 days, and so on. So this kind of data can be input over here. And next, last is accounting data. Here we need to give the details of the material, like whether it's a standard price or it's a moving average price. Okay, so moving average price will have weighted average formula cost, and based on that prices will be calculated. Standard price is a price which is fixed across all your life cycle of the purchase organization. So suppose I give 1000. Okay, and the valuation class, as I told you, which GL code it will hit in the finance model. So suppose 3000 is the for raw materials. So I save this and just save it. So we'll create a material code. This is a material code which I have created. Just copy that. Now we need to, what is the purpose of MM model? We need to procure the materials. For procuring the material, we need to have a master data. So I created a master data, that is material. Now this material has to procure from which? We need to get the source of the material. Okay, so that is one thing, but vendor. So for that, we need to create a vendor master in the system. Now coming to vendor master in SAP, this is SAP S/4HANA latest version. Here vendor master has been replaced by business partner. That it's a new terminology. It is called as business partner. So we'll be seeing in detail how what is business partner and why SAP came up with business partner approach. And we can create a business partner using the T code called BP. Okay, so here we can create a business partner. Suppose I open an existing one. This is my business partner, and I can give the address of the vendor. Okay, and I can have the bank details of that vendor. All these details can be input in the business partner. So we'll be seeing in detail how to configure the business partner and how to create a business partner as well in that training. So once we have the master data ready, we can go ahead and create the purchase requisitions. So if I'll show you one purchase requisitions like ME53, and it's a display. Now in SAP, any transaction has three kinds of codes. One is to create, two is to change, and three is to display. So ME51 is creation of purchase requisition, ME52N is to change the purchase requisition, and ME53N is to display the purchase requisition. So I'll just open existing purchase requisition. Here is nothing but if you see, this is the purchase requisition screen. I have to just give the material and the plant which I am procuring and how much quantity I am procuring. So if I create a purchase requisition, suppose via ME51N transaction, I just give the material code which I have. We can give any, suppose for which plant I'm procuring, suppose AP01, because I have not assigned a particular some settings which to be done. So this is a material. Suppose it can be alphanumeric material as well. It's not necessary that it is to be numeric. For which plant I'm procuring, this is my plant. How much quantity I want to procure? Suppose 100 quantity. Just that's it. So 3-4 fields are required. Now if you see, there are so many fields over here. Okay, there are a lot of tabs available, lot of fields available, which will be seeing in detail. Each and every field data will be seeing in detail what exactly it is, how to customize that data in that field. Okay, that can be seen in detail. But mandatory fields are just material, plant, and quantity. So these three fields, once you input, we can save the purchase requisition. What is purchase requisition? Now this purchase requisition is nothing but in any department they require a particular material or service. So they indent the material. So as I'm working in a business organization, I want some stationery. So what I do, I cannot I have to raise a purchase requisition. I have to raise a request for that material. It will go to the purchasing department. They will create a purchase order out of that and send it to the vendor. Vendor will supply you the material. Okay, so this is basically called procure to pay cycle. There's something called procure to pay cycle. It starts with P2P. It is also called as P2P, purchase to pay, procure to pay. It starts with purchase requisitions. Okay, so I have shown you how to create a purchase requisition, and purchase requisition can be manually created, standalone purchase requisition, or it can be auto generated. Now as I told you, SAP is tightly integrated with other modules, so your purchase requisition can come from other modules as well. Suppose we have a customer order in the SD module, okay, and the inventory is not available for SD module to dispatch to customer. So what they will do, they will send a request to the MM module. MM module will create a purchase order via PR. So PR will be coming from SD module, then it will be converted into purchase order, and then we'll receive the material and send it back to the SD module. They will dispatch the material to the customer. So that is one way of getting this requirement. Another way is, if it's a manufacturing organization, they have a PP model wherein all the components which are required for a production of a material, that will be stored in the BOM, bill of material, and that gets exploded. And what happens if the inventory is available? We can directly use it in the manufacturing organization. If it is not available, then that request will come in SAP MM as a PR, and that will be converted into PO, and then inventory will be available via vendor and send it to the PP model for production. So PR can be standalone PR, manual PR, or it can come automatically from SD or PP model as a requirement. So once the PR is received, we have to convert that purchase requisition to purchase order. Okay, we have to create a PO. So how to create a PO? This is the purchase order screen. I'll show you one purchase order. This is ME23, and to display the PO. So here we have the vendor to whom we are ordering. We have to give the header details like org details of the vendor of the PO, like what is the company code for which we are procuring, what is the purchase organization, what is the purchasing group. Okay, and when we give the reference of the PR, automatically things get copied from the PR. So that material will get copied from PR. You don't have to input any other details. So in the item level, things get copied from the PR when we give the reference of the purchase requisition. So quantity, your material, your plant will details will get copied, and then you just save it. Now if there are any taxes are required, that needs to be attached in the PO, whether GST is there, or if there are any freight conditions for transportation you require freight, all the landed cost, freight conditions, discounts if the vendor is giving discounts. So all these details can be filled in over here. Okay, and so we'll be having the big gross price, which is basically quantity into value of the material. That will be the gross price. Then we'll add all the landed cost in it and deduct the discounts, and we'll arrive at the net PO value. This is a net PO value, and it can have in multiple currencies. Okay, so this is your purchase order. Once the PO is created, it will go for approval. Okay, if your release strategy is applicable, it will go to approval based on various levels. Now we can say that up to 10 lakhs PO, your head of department can approve. Above the 10 lakhs, 10 to 20 lakhs, your vice president has to approve. Okay, 20 to 30 lakhs, it has to go to CFO and then CEO and so on. So as per the business requirement, we can configure the approval process into SAP. So once the PO is ready, we have to do the goods receipt, GRN. Okay, so in the GRN we give how much quantity we have to receive. So that is via the T code MIGO, MIGO. Here we give how much quantity with reference to purchase order. So we create a goods receipt with reference to purchase order, give the PO number and how much quantity. Now this PO is already created, GRN is done. Okay, so here we give the quantity, how much you want, we have received from the vendor. And now here we have various options. We can receive the material in unrestricted stock type if there is no issue, or we can go once the material is received, we can go to quality check. There will be quality inspection. Once the quality is passed, then only we can use that material. So it will go to quality inspection stock. If there is any damage of the material, we can move that material to the block stock. So there are various scenarios available in the GRN as well, and there are a lot of movement types. Any material in SAP MM, material will never stay at one place. It will keep on moving, and every movement is tracked via movement type. So we have 101 as the standard movement type to receive the material. Okay, and if you are receiving in a block stock, we have 103. If you are doing the returning to vendor, we have various movement types. Okay, so if you see, there are 338 movement types, standard movement types available in SAP system to track the movement of the material. Even in the material is in the warehouse, it will never stay in the warehouse at one place. Okay, it will go to packing area, labeling area, will attach some barcode to it. Okay, will be staging at area, loading, unloading. Okay, yard area, and lot of areas are there. So to track the quantity and the position of that material, we have various movement types. So we'll be seeing in detail how to do that in the training. So once the GRN is done, obviously next is vendor will, once the vendor is supply the material, he will give you an invoice copy, and we have to pay the do the payment to the vendor via transaction MIRO. That is called invoice. Okay, so in invoice, we have, there's a transaction MIRO, MIRO. Here we just give the reference of the PO for which company we are doing, give the company code and the PO number and the amount which we have, and then post the invoice. Okay, and the payment will be released to the vendor via finance module. Now from here it will go to finance module. Finance will take it over, and actual payment will happen. Here we are just booking the invoice. We are not making the payment in MIRO transaction, and actual payment will happen from the finance module to the bank account. Okay, so in SAP MM, when we do booking, that time we have something called three-way match. Okay, when we do invoice, there is a three-way match which happens. What is three-way match? Here the price will be picked up from the PO in the invoice, and your quantity will be picked up from the GRN. Okay, so how much price is there, whatever we have agreed mutually between the vendor and the business, that price has to be there in the invoice. That value of the material should not be differing in the invoice. And obviously quantity, whatever quantity he has supplied to, that much quantity only he should bill for. If he's billing for more than that supplied quantity, that system will not allow you to book the invoice. So that is second match. And third match is your duplication of invoice. Suppose there is already we have booked the invoice, we try to book the invoice second time again, it will not allow. So there is a three-way match which is there. So this scenario is called procure to pay scenario, okay, which will be covering how to handle the procure to pay scenario in the SAP system. I was talking about something called customization. Now this is easy access wherein we can perform all the various transactions. Now there is one T code called SPRO. This is a T code which is used by all the modules of SAP for doing the configuration. Once I enter inside that, click on reference ING, and here we have configurations, which I was talking about settings for every transaction. So for MM we have materials management. We'll expand this node. In the purchasing, now we can configure the master data, which we can create our own industry sector, we can create our own material types, we can create our own unit of measurements, okay, your own material group. All these details can be created here in the material master configuration. When we talk about purchase requisitions, here we have something called document types. Even in purchase order we have document types. So what is document type? There's in SAP we have a if I open this purchase orders transaction, on the top there is one field called document type. Okay, so we segregate the PO based on the scenarios. So whether it's a standalone PO or it's a import procurement, you are doing import procurement, we can have a separate series of PO number. Okay, so the import will segregate it in a separate series. Domestic purchase order will be have a separate series of a purchase order. Then we have something called subcontracting, consignment. Okay, these are the special procurements. So every procurement scenario will have a separate series via the document type. So we'll see how to configure the document types and assign the number ranges to that. So all this will be done in the configuration. And then something as I told you, in conditions we have discounts. We can create our own condition type, okay, like freight condition, discount condition, any surcharges, taxes, all this can be created via the condition done in the configuration over here in the condition. If you see here, there's something called conditions under purchasing. Okay, so here we can do that. Now, apart from that, I was talking about below between PR and PO, there's something called quotation, RFQ. In procure to pay cycle itself, we have something called quotation. So what is RFQ? Once you have received the requirement from the department, whether it's via SD module or PP module or any manual PR has been come up in purchase department, they will raise a request for quotation. Means this we'll create a quotation for that and send it to the vendors. Now minimum 2 quotations should be coming up from various vendors, and then we will once the quotation is supplied, and then we will doing the comparison. That is we'll get the price for the particular material. We mention the specifications of the material over here in the RFQ, and then once the vendor will supply you the quote, we will maintain the quotation whatever price he has given. And in SAP we have a lot of criteria to evaluate the vendor, like what is the price, what is the delivery performance, what is the quality of the material, what is kind of service is providing, how much quantity he can deliver, where exactly he can deliver on time or not, what is the. So all these parameters and criteria can be used to evaluate the vendor. Once the vendor is evaluated, SAP will give him a score and rankings, and based on that we can choose one of the best vendors who can give value for money. And once the vendor is chosen, we can have a contract as well in between. So what is contract? We can directly go for PO, or but if it's a long-term agreement, we want to procure a lot of data, lot of material, okay, then we can have a contract which is a mutual agreement between the business and this vendor. Okay, so we can have a like 1 year contract, 2 years contract, and saying that okay, we want 1 crore rupees of purchase. So till that time 1 crore rupees has been vendor has supplied with the material service, the contract will be hold valid. Once the 1 crore is exhausted, contract will expire. Okay, so and there's something called, this is a value contract. There's something called quantity contract. We say that okay, we want 10,000 quantity. Unless until all the 10,000 quantity has been supplied by the vendor, it will be hold true. Once all this quantity has been supplied, the contract will expire. Okay, so when we create the benefit of contract is it will safeguard you from the price escalations. Okay, so any fluctuations, anything happens, so whatever mutually agreed terms and conditions will be mentioned over here, and whatever price has been mutually agreed, that will be holding true till the life cycle of the this procure to pay cycle, till the invoicing. The same price will be applicable even if the market goes up and down. Okay, so this is contract, and so these things is a part of your procure to pay cycle. So then I'll just show you the training contents. So here we'll be having the introduction. We'll start with the introduction to ERP. Then we'll have a little bit about MM introduction. Sorry, SAP introduction of all the modules. Then MM function objectives, procurement proposals. Then we'll talk about navigation, how it's to navigate into SAP. Then we have something called organization structure, which I was talking about, how to we can create our own company code, our own plant, storage location, purchase organization, purchase group. Then we will be creating a master data, okay, your own material types, that is raw material groups, and so on. Then we can create a vendor master. There is another kind of master data like purchase info records, source determination, so which will be seeing in detail what is that. Then we'll be covering about purchase requisitions, and the settings configuration required behind it. So we can create our own document type, our own number ranges, and a lot of other settings are there. Then we can talk about quotations, how to configure the quotation, okay, and how to handle the price comparison by having various criteria in the quotation, okay, and vendor selection. Then we have purchase order, how to configure purchase order. Then outline agreement, which is nothing but contracts. And then we'll talk about inventory management, which is includes your goods receipts, goods issue, stock transfer. What is stock transfer? Suppose we there are two plants, okay, and the one plant requires some material, there is a shortage of material, so instead of getting it from external vendor, if the material is available in my first plant, we can directly transfer from the one plant to another plant. So that kind is called stock transfer, one plant to another plant, or from one storage location to another storage location. So there are a lot of combinations available which we'll be seeing. Then reservation is like we are reserving a material, okay, so that we'll be seeing detail. Consignment and physical inventory is basically stock taking of inventory, okay. And then we have pricing procedure, we'll be seeing in detail what is pricing procedure. Basically we can create our own discount conditions, freight conditions, surcharge conditions. Then we will talk about service management. This is basically for the service industry. We can create a service PO and service entry sheet, which is a what you call equivalent of GRN. We talk about material purchase. Then we have inventory management configurations, how to configure your own movement types, okay. SAP has already provided so many standard movement types. If you want, you can create our own movement types. How to configure the how to do transfer postings from 1 step, 2 step, 3 step processes, okay. And then we'll be configuring the master data and the integration point as well, okay. So here we have how MM is integrated with the finance module via automatic account determination, how MM is integrated with SD, PP, QM, and so on. So we'll be seeing the integration points of MM with other modules. And after this we'll be covering, now here after every unit I'll be giving you assignments to work on, practice on the server, and at the end of the training we'll be having a project which will give you full life cycle, how from starting to end, how the project works using the SAP methodology or the Activate methodology, okay. And then after this we'll be having a, if anybody is interested to go for certification, which is SAP globalized certification, I can give you certification guidance as well, okay. And then we can even have a job placement assistance, wherein I can update your resume as per SAP points. We'll add I'll give you SAP points to add up in your own resume, and we'll have a mock interviews conducted, okay. Standard question answers I'll be sharing with you, interview question and answers, so this way I can assist you in the job placements as well. So that's it from my side. This is any questions if you have, you can ask me. Just unmute yourself one by one and you can ask me any clarification if you require. Any doubts, any questions anyone is having? Just unmute yourself and you can ask me. Hello, am I audible?
Hello.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, hi. Actually, I have a question. Like, you talked about the live project, right? At the end, we'll have some mini project and all,
Yes.
and all the things that will be covered as per MM aspect, or that will be like the connection between SD and some SD will be included or something like that. Like
No, the
what will be
project.
included in project? Like, can you like elaborate a bit? We'll get some idea. Like,
Yeah, yeah. So actually, there's something called as a configuration document as well. So I'll be sharing with you the configuration document. Okay, so I'll show you. Um, it's a step-by-step guide to configuration, which is nothing but SPRO configuration, which I was showing you. So you have to refer this document, and we'll be doing the configurations. Okay, so it's almost 100 page of document, and this is nothing but a part of your project. So we'll be handling how creating the org structure. Then we'll be doing the assignment of org structure. We'll be configuring the master data, how to configure master data. We'll be configuring the purchase scenarios. Okay, and services scenarios, inventory management. So all this will be part of your project, which we are anyways covering this after every unit. But when we talk about project, it will give you full end-to-end scenario. Okay, from starting to end, we'll be doing it, and I'll be reviewing your project. How exactly, if any issues are there, so you get a complete picture of that. And when we're talking about integration, that's a separate topic altogether. Okay, integration is integration of MM model with other models, how it is integrated with that. So there are some other configurations which are required, which will also be part of a project. So what in MM we have something called automatic account determination. Okay, so in finance module, what they do, they create a various GL codes, general ledgers, and that GL code will be provided by the finance consultant to MM consultant, and he will include that in our purchasing transactions. So there is something called as a when we do GRN, that is the first time when the accounting entries are getting created. Okay, so there is something called debit and credit entries. How exactly which GL code should be hit during debit entry, which GL code should be hit during credit entry. Moment your stock is received, inventory will increase, and where exactly it should go. So all these settings are required. We'll be seeing in detail how MM and SD is integrated via that stock transport order. Okay, how MMPP is integrated via MRP planning activities, which I was talking about. PR can come from SD model or PP model. How it is happening, that integration will be seeing. Plan maintenance will see PS model, quality management. So all this is a part of integration. Okay, so project is separate, which will be doing it via this document, and the integration is separate. We'll be sharing with you the certification dump as well, and which you can refer and go ahead for your certification. Okay. Any other questions? Is that clear, your question? Am I?
yeah, thanks. And one more thing, like after going through this course, like after completing with the project and each and everything, what like if I am applying for the interview, and
Hmm.
what experience can I show? Like it will be 1 year relevant to 1 year experience, 1.5, or what? Can you like give a
Yeah.
brief?
So we're not talking about your placement assistance. So you already might be having a resume with some experience in that. So what we can will be adding some few points that in your organization you are working as an end user, working on SAP, or and you have a, because the kind of knowledge will be I'm being but imparting to you, you'll get the confidence to track the interview. But when it comes to verification, that part has to be handled separately. Okay, so when if the company verifies that whether you are really working on SAP in your organization, that has to be taken care by your HR. Okay, so that is there. So we can add the things in the resume, but you should be able to justify that.
Yeah, sorry for asking one more question. Like,
Yes.
if I say like that can be handled, the HR query that can be handled from my side.
Okay.
So for like how much, like for which post can I apply? Like for 1 year experience, 2 years, three, like
Yes. So
that's
SAP job market is like we have something called project, as I told you. In
yeah.
we have consultants. We have two kinds of project. One is a SAP implementation project.
Mhm.
Then we have something called upgradation projects. From then we have integration projects. Okay, and then rollout projects, which are mini implementation you can talk about. Then we have a support project. Okay, so for every kind of activity we have resource required. Okay, so as a fresher, junior consultant or consultant level, you will it's difficult to get a project implementation project. Okay. You can easily get into support project as a associate consultant or junior consultant, you can say. If you are fresher, if you have a domain expertise, then that domain gets counted as a experience, and then you can go get into these kind of things: implementation, upgradation, integration, and rollout. Okay, and we'll be covering everything, how to implement project via that configuration and project, and this will cover all these aspects. And support is basically if any issues are encountered after project is gone live, the users might be encountering a lot of errors, issues, and understanding problems. So that will be handled by the support consultant. So initially, if you are fresher, just a college pass out, you can get into support activity for 1-2 years. And if you are able to get into implementation is from your organization on the job training, you can it's good. Otherwise, after that, once you get 1 year of support experience, you can directly jump in because in the job market, when we go into job market, like for your consultant level, they say ask for at least one. You might have done one end-to-end project. One end-to-end project if you have done implementation or upgradation, integration, rollout project, then you have a huge scope. Okay, so it's just like any field. When any fresher initially they have to there will be struggle initially, but then compared to other fields, the scope is huge. Okay, if you get 1-2 years experience into SAP market, you will get a lot of opportunities going forward. And other thing is, which I was talking about, SAP S4 HANA. There are some 3 lakhs to almost 4 lakh of customers as of 2020. Now 4 lakh companies have implemented SAP. Okay, 4 lakh companies have implemented SAP, are using SAP. Now they are using the older version of SAP. Okay, out of which only 25% have migrated to SAP S4 HANA. Okay, they are migrated to SAP S4 HANA, which is the latest version of SAP. Now SAP is going to stop from 2025. First, they have given the deadline that the older SAP is going to stop the support of the older versions. Okay, that has gone extended till 2028. I think, I'm not sure, but 2025 was the initial deadline. After this, company has to compulsory migrate to SAP S4HANA. Because then SAP will not support the older versions. Okay, so they don't have any options. Though these 75% who have not migrated, they are going to migrate by 2025. So when these companies migrate, almost 3 lakh companies which are migrating from older version to new version, there are a lot of projects which are going to come up in the job market. Okay. So, and for that they require consultants, junior support consultants, junior consultants, senior consultants, and so on. Okay, so there's a huge scope which is there, and this is the right time. You have if you see current situation, you have a time, you can utilize that time to learn the latest version or the ECC version. Also, we have the other 75 companies have implemented, so there is a job market for ECC version as well. 75% companies, like almost 3 lakh companies have using SAP, so that also job market is there. If you go for latest version, also there's a good thing to do that. So huge scope is available if you take a decision right now to enroll. It's a duration of the course which I wanted to tell you. Duration of the course is for ECC version, the duration is 45 hours, 45 to 50 hours of training is required. Okay, and for S4 HANA it will be almost 60 hours. Okay, for S4 HANA will be covering 60 hours of training, 60 to 65 hours of training, and this will be covered in covered in 2.5 months of time. For S4 HANA, it will take 3 months. For ECC, we'll be covering in 2.5 months. So we'll be like every week, we'll be having 5 hours of session. So if it is weekdays or weekends, based on the convenient of the trainer and the trainee, we can schedule the batches. Okay, so it will be like a weekend session. We'll be having 2.5 hour session daily, Saturday and Sunday, so which covers 5 hours. If we talk about Monday weekdays batch, Monday to Friday, we can have 1 hour session daily. So again, it will be covering 5 hours. Okay, so that will be able to cover the training complete curriculum in 2.5 months of time. Okay, any other questions anybody is having? Fine, then I'll wind up the demo, and then we'll get back to you regarding the enrollment part if anybody is interested to enroll. Thank you so much, everybody. Have a great day. Bye. Take care.